following is a presentation of HBO Sports.
New York City, hailed by many as the greatest city on the planet. For decades, it was the center of the boxing universe. Now, the Big Apple plays host to the latest fighter, hoping to carve his name into the city's rich boxing tradition. Middleweight title holder, Gennady Golovkin of Kazakhstan.
Right hand, hurt Proxima, down he goes again.
The undefeated Golovkin owns the highest knockout percentage of any current champion and in the history of the middleweight division.
Body shot, puts Macklin down. What we just saw was not ordinary, it was extraordinary.
Triple G's explosive attack has made him a must-see attraction for boxing fans. And tonight, he showcases his unmatched talents under the bright lights on Broadway. Standing in his way, Brooklyn's own Curtis Stevens. With some knockout power of his own, Stevens looks to defend his home turf and capture Golovkin's belt.
He's in my hometown, and come Saturday, I'm getting in destroying him.
Too much talking, every day, every time. This is my time.
From the city that never sleeps, Gennady Golovkin and Curtis Stevens is next.
Welcome to another edition of World Championship Boxing, as HBO's epic fall season continues tonight from the theater at the Mecca of Boxing, Madison Square Garden. We get things started with a matchup between two undefeated southpaw heavyweights, Mike Perez and Magomed Abdusalamov. And then, in our main event, middleweight title holder Gennady Golovkin looks to further his case for Fighter of the Year, having already recorded 3 sensational knockout wins in 2013. Tonight, he faces Brooklyn native Curtis Stevens. Hello again, I'm Jim Lampley. Welcome to this special edition of HBO's World Championship Boxing, live from the theater at Madison Square Garden. Don't blink. Stay alert. If ever there were going to be a time when you would place a bet that both of the fights on this telecast are going to end in knockouts, tonight is the night. After all, the main event showcases the hardest puncher in the middleweight division of boxing. But which one is it? Is it the title holder, Gennady Golovkin, with 14 consecutive knockouts coming in and the highest knockout percentage of any title holder in boxing? Or is it the challenger, Curtis Stevens, with 3 first-round knockouts in his last 4 fights? And in the fight which precedes that, 2 specimens from the rarest breed in boxing, southpaw heavyweights, Magomed Abdusalamov has had 18 professional fights. All 18 he's won by knockout, 11 of them in the first round. He's never been past the 5th round. And the opponent, Mike Perez of Cuba, is a slick, quick boxer, but he also likes to come forward, has 12 knockouts in 19 fights. In all probability, there'll be thunder in both fights tonight. Let's take a look at the tail of the tape for the heavyweight battle upcoming between Abdusalamov and Perez. And you can see that there's a 4-year age advantage for the former Cuban Perez, who now lives in Ireland and loves it. But a height advantage for Abdusalamov. An arm length advantage of 2.5 inches for the fighter from the Dagestan Republic in the nation of Russia. And Perez will outweigh Abdusalamov by just about 4 pounds in the fight. Mike Perez, like so many other Cuban standouts, is a product of La Finca and represented his country in hundreds of amateur fights. And even though he defected to Ireland in 2007, until this day, he keeps his past and those closest to him in mind every time he fights.
Very mad kid, all the time was fighting. And so one guy asked me, do you like boxing? And I said, I try, why not? I like it, it was very good. So since 5 years old, I'm boxing. La Finca, they take me there when I was 15. All people call La Finca because you go there and you can go nowhere, you know? We train here, we sleep here. It's like a Cuban Olympic camp. Like, it's all the great boxers from Cuba have to go there. Everyone wants a better life. I get the opportunity to desert Cuba, and I do so. I left Cuba to become a professional fighter. I now have to fight for myself, for my family in Cuba, and for my 3 guys that are here. You have Taylor is 12, Mia is 2, and Sienna is 1.5.
It's got to be one of the best nicknames in the recent history of boxing. Irish Mike Perez. As you can see, 10 of 12 knockouts in the first round. He trains with trainer Abel Sanchez in the same Big Bear camp, or school, as Sanchez calls it, where Gennady Golovkin prepares for fights. And because of that, Sanchez, normally his trainer in the corner during fights, will not be in the corner with him tonight. Support staff will be working with Perez in the corner, just as was the case, incidentally, a couple of weeks ago for Ruslan Probotnikov when he got his big win over Mike Alvarado out in Broomfield, Colorado. If it weren't for an untimely knee injury, Magomed Abdusalamov's athletic career may have followed a different script, one that would not have showcased his exceptional punching power.
I was born in Russia, in the city of Makhachkala. Sports always ran in my family, and my father used to be a professional wrestler. I started with kickboxing, and I was doing very well, but I had a very, very bad injury. I was 23, my leg was broken, and meanwhile, while I was rehabbing from the injury, I started boxing. My knockout power was the main reason that I actually switched to boxing, because of how hard I can punch. I would just say it's genetic, because my father is a really, really strong man, and I think that's how I got the power in my hands, just from him.
He is called Mago for short, the man who found him and brought him to the United States. Samson Lukowitz says it means magic, and who knows, in some language, maybe it does. Meanwhile, Abdusalamov is the guy who has 11 first-round knockouts in his 18 fights, all knockouts so far. I'll be joined at ringside shortly by Roy Jones and Max Kellerman, but let me momentarily play Max's role and point this out. Vitaly Klitschko's running for president of Ukraine. Vladimir Klitschko may finally be on the downside. Very shortly, the heavyweight division may be in play, and the winner of this fight could be in the mix to see who rises to the top next time. Let's go to Michael Buffer on his birthday to give us the official introductions. Happy birthday, Michael.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to the theater here in Madison Square Garden, New York City, New York, USA, where tonight K2 Promotions is proud to present an evening of world-class professional prize fighting for your entertainment, broadcast live on HBO World Championship Boxing. All bouts sanctioned by the New York State Athletic Commission. This first contest, courtesy of K2 Promotions and Samson Boxing, along with Madison Square Garden. At ringside, the 3 judges scoring will be Julie Letterman, John Stewart, and Don Trella. And inside the ring, in charge of the action at the bell, referee Benji Estevez. And now, on the line, the US NBC heavyweight title. 10 rounds of boxing in the heavyweight division. 2 undefeated warriors. Somebody's O has got to go. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, wearing red with black, official weight 235 3/4 pounds. As a professional, a perfect record, 19 fights, 19 victories, including 12 knockouts. Originally from Cuba, now fighting out of Cork, Ireland. He is the challenger, the undefeated Mike, the Rebel Perez. And fighting out of the blue corner, wearing black with red, officially weighing 231 1/2 pounds. Also, a perfect professional record, 18 fights, 18 victories, 18 knockouts. From Makhachkala, Kazakhstan, the defending champion, the undefeated Magomed Abdusalamov.
Second, Mike, let me get some people out of here, okay? Yeah. Let's go, let's get them out, let's get them out. Get them out, let's get them out, let's get them out. No, get these guys out.
Chief second,
Yep, there you go. All right, let's go. Momento. Okay, man, you've already received your pre-bout instructions. Trunk's a little high over here. We're going here. Obey my commands at all times. Protect yourself at all times. Give you a nice, clean match. Touch them up. Good luck to both of you.
Mike Perez told us that he has no intention of leaving Ireland. He's Irish now. His children will be Irish. He's Irish Mike Perez, Jim, and maybe his extensive Cuban amateur background can hold off a guy, an Abdusalamov, who sees in Provodnikov, Ruslan Provodnikov, a kindred spirit. He wants to be like a heavyweight Provodnikov.
It's interesting that Perez actually outweighs Abdusalamov coming into the ring, or at least he outweighed him at the weigh-in yesterday, because Perez, when he left Cuba, weighed 201. However, within the first year after he arrived in Ireland, he weighed 244. So obviously this is his preference, Roy, and he may need it tonight.
Yeah, this is his preference, and he definitely will need it tonight, because these guys are exchanging some bombs, and he has already knocked the heck out of Abdusalamov a couple times.
Perez got right in his kitchen and shook him up.
Right away. He's already let him know it's going to be a big fight.
And big left hand by Abdusalamov down the pipe, but now Perez comes back with a couple of shots of his own. Abdusalamov, despite the perfect record, has a habit of slow starts. Jamil McCline, an aging former American contender, knocked him down in the first minute, but Abdusalamov steeled himself, got back into good form, and knocked McCline out in the fourth.
A lot of times that's the case with pressure fighters. They start slow.
Yes.
Heavyweight pressure fighters, especially Joe Frazier and you know, guys like that, would oftentimes take a few rounds to get going.
But Perez hasn't started slow, and he wobbled Abdusalamov with that right hand and has landed some thunderous body shots, Roy.
Yeah, the problem that Perez has, though, is he's stepping up with his left hand. He's stepping that left leg up. He got to be careful of that, because if Abdusalamov can catch him at that time, he may drop him.
Well, whatever winds up happening, it's been terrific so far. And the question as to whether Abel Sanchez, in such a short amount of time, several weeks, could start to affect Mike Perez's temperament in the ring, so far has been answered. It's yes, he's much more aggressive.
Good left hook by Perez, and again he wobbles Abdusalamov.
I don't think that's a product of Abel Sanchez. I think that's just the way this kid came up fighting. He said he's had over 300 fights. He's been fighting this way since he first came in the gym.
But not always this aggressively early in the fight.
Well, he had no other choice. Abdusalamov came right at him. How could you run? You can't run from a guy that big that's coming right at you. So that's not by choice. That's by design. He had to do that.
Good left hand and a right hook landed for Abdusalamov. Perez has landed the sharper shots, but Abdusalamov has also gotten in some damage here in round number one.
And Perez has found that maybe because Abdusalamov has forced him into that kind of fight, he can have real success in this kind of fight.
Yeah, he is.
Low blow for Perez.
The only thing you got to be concerned about here is the long left hand of Abdusalamov, because it seems as though Perez has the better right hook, which was landed to the body right there, and that's very smart to go to the body on a power punch like Abdusalamov. But it seems as though Abdusalamov has the better straight left.
So far, Perez's hand speed advantage has, I think, been the biggest factor in round one. He's getting off quicker and more sharply.
I see an amateur experience advantage here. Perez lands his shots. It's muscle memory. He doesn't have to think about them.
Well, Abdusalamov don't really have to think about him either. But the thing is, well, we'll see after the next round.
Got to think about those hands that Perez is putting in his world, I'll tell you what.
Remember the point, Roy, and we'll come back to it.
Eso. Let me have a little water.
Get that bucket. Where's the spit bucket?
Right here, buddy. We got it. We got it.
Okay. Eso, inteligente, inteligente, inteligente.
Did he break my nose? Did he break my nose? It looks like I broke my nose.
Pero cuídese
Look at it.
porque
Look at
tira
it.
los volados. Esos volados que tira y los tira alrededor. Usted va a hacer por abajo así y listo para darle el counter, ¿verdad? Listo para listo. El jab siempre jugándolo. No lo deje que se acomode. No lo deje que se acomode. Usted primero trabajándolo. Aquí estamos. Ya sabe, haga su trabajo, Mike. Fuerte con su jab.
Sounded as if our Russian interpreter in Abdusalamov's corner told us that he was asking his cornerman if his nose was broken. And in the first round, Mike Perez threw 96 punches, landing 33 of them. Abdusalamov was 19 out of 59. The heavyweight average is 16 to 45. So both fighters exceeded the heavyweight average in thrown and landed punches. Perez very significantly in round number 1.
What I was about to say here is what you're seeing is a highly elevated amateur fight, a good amateur fight, elevated to the professional level. Because in the old days, we didn't get to see the great Cubans fight the great Russians in professional bouts. This is what you're seeing right now.
Something worth waiting for, huh?
You're exactly
and
right.
Not to mention, I don't remember ever seeing two heavyweight southpaw contenders going at it. And maybe we should see more of that if this is an indication of what would happen.
Well, let's take it even a step further. And Abdusalamov is trained by the southpaw John David Jackson.
And that's an interesting matchup because, of course, as we told you before, Jackson was a brilliant defensive stylist as a fighter, is given credit for being an excellent teacher of defense as a trainer, and quite obviously, Abdusalamov is an offensive fighter.
Perez is starting to tire a little bit. And that's the one thing about the Cuban fighters that you always have to be careful of because they have to learn to make that adjustment to go over 3 or 5 rounds. Abdusalamov doesn't seem to be tiring quite as bad.
No, I think Abdusalamov is starting to warm up.
Well, he started this round with a straight left hand that landed, and I think sent Perez a message that he's not just going to fold it up and fold it in.
And now they're grinning at each other as they trade shots in round number 2. What a showdown in the heavyweight division. Irish Mike Perez against Magomed Abdusalamov.
Oh, Vladimir and Povetkin are watching.
Yeah, exactly. This is how you fight. Big right hand by Abdusalamov.
Like I said, Abdusalamov has the better right hook, and Abdusalamov has the better overhand left, and Perez has the best right hook. And Perez is doing some really good body work. That's where the amateur background pays off the most at, because Abdusalamov, as you see, is not being reminded to go to the body so much. He's trying to knock him out strictly by the headshots. Whereas you see that Mike Perez, with that Cuban background, is going to his body as much as possible.
And Perez's offense so far has just been crisper and more accurate. They both throw a lot of punches for heavyweights, and they're not pity pads. These guys are throwing hard shots.
Stop, right? Step back, step back, step back.
Abdusalamov has a big heart. For him to drop his hands and say, come on, and thinking that his nose is broke already, what does that tell you about him?
He's breathing through an open mouth, Roy. Is that partially because of the broken nose?
Yes, it is.
Uppercut by Abdusalamov. What action through first 2 rounds.
Sit down, sit down, sit down.
Deep breath, deep breath. Get that nose for me, get that nose for me. Come on, man. Deep breath. Listen to me.
When he's going to throw his punches, you throw. Get in close. Get in close. Bring your body in close so he doesn't let his hands go. Take his strength away.
And give me the short combinations.
When he goes up, that's what he wants. He looks for that quick shot.
Listen.
Empieza a agarrar su fuerza, quítesela, péguesela, doblese. That's all right.
When you get that punch, move your head. Listen to me. Tell him, move that head.
CompuBox numbers in round 2. They both landed 29. Abdusalamov threw 78. Perez threw 88. Abdusalamov with a 19-13 edge in power connects.
And Abdusalamov is trying his best to change this fight around, Jim. I mean, to have a broke nose and to constantly be coming at a guy who can punch like Mike Perez can says something about your will to win.
Well, Abdusalamov's already turned the fight around in the sense that he just got whooped up in the first round, and the second round was a much closer round.
Much closer. Another low blow for Perez, and now Benji Esteves is going to talk to him about it.
Come on now.
So I called one in the first round that Esteves ignored. That one was right on the cup, and Esteves talked to Perez. And by the way, let's be clear. We're not doctors. We haven't diagnosed yet with any certainty that he has a broken nose. He thinks he has a broken nose, and it looks like he's got a broken nose.
We're not doctors, but these two guys are fighters. I mean, when was the last time you've seen a heavyweight fight like this?
And I think the biggest punch that has to be watched for right now is that overhand left of Abdusalamov. Good body shots by Perez.
Right on the belt line. Those were well placed. Perez once again using his hand speed here to outquick Abdusalamov as they stand near the middle of the ring. Interesting that Abdusalamov hasn't really been able to corner Perez against the ropes or in the corners, Roy. Is it something he should be trying to do?
No, it's nothing he should be trying to do, because most of the Cuban fighters are very difficult to corner anyway at any weight class. So it's not going to happen the way we think it easily could happen, because this guy is a very schooled technician at staying out of corners. Oh, that's what he got to do, land that left hand. That's his best way to try to corner this guy. If he lands that left hand more, because he's the taller fighter, then maybe he'll see some outcome that he likes.
At this point in the fight, this is the first time I've seen Abdusalamov's power bother Perez. He landed some shots before, but I didn't see the power starting to bother Perez. I see it now.
Yeah, Perez is starting to tire, like I told you the last round. And that's the one
big
thing.
left hand for Abdusalamov.
About a muscle-bound fighter like this, sometimes he will tire a little bit. But Abdusalamov is keeping that pressure on him, and I think it's wearing him down just a little.
And now it's Perez who corners Abdusalamov.
Yeah, but if Abdusalamov knew to go to the body some, it would be even better for him.
Uppercut lands for Abdusalamov inside. They're both making constant contact, and they're both still throwing in big numbers.
These are two very well-schooled fighters.
Huge left hand by Abdusalamov. Perez has got a good beard.
Yes, he does.
He just missed that. It was a fight-ending left. Abdusalamov threw it with fight-ending intentions.
Oh, good right hook by Perez.
He may not have seen a guy with a chin like Perez, though, up to this point. And there's a danger there that you punch yourself out, trying to knock out a guy who's not as knockoutable as the guys you've been in with before. Another great round. Vladimir Klitschko and Hayden Panettiere, fiancés, and here in the arena watching tonight. A lot of stars in the theater at Madison Square Garden, but physically at least, Vladimir's the biggest.
Listen, Mark, he's dying out. I need that good jab from me. When he gets close, give me those short shots we worked on. The uppercuts and the hooks, go to the body. Okay? Keep those hands up. Touch him. Just touch him. Hit him with that last shot, Rohan. Okay. Together.
We mentioned that Abel Sanchez is not working in the corner with Mike Perez tonight, and his assistant Ben Lira is the one who is helping Perez through the fight in the corner, while Abel stays back in the dressing room with his star client, Gennady Golovkin, to get Golovkin ready for Curtis Stevenson. The main event still to come. Harold Letterman, how do you have it through the first three?
Okay, Jim, I've got a 2-1, 29-28, Mike Perez. You know, Jim, Magomed is the kind of guy that starts slow, and I think he started slow in his fight, and in the first 2 rounds, I thought Mike outworked him. But in round 3, Magomed did what Magomed does. He started to land those killer shots like that. I mean, yeah, he's a guy that swings for the fences with every shot he throws. And in the 3rd round, I thought his power shots just did a little bit more damage than Perez's shots. 2-1. Mike Perez. CompuBox numbers could scarcely be more equal. They both landed 29 punches in round 2. They both landed 33 punches in round 3. Perez threw 80, Abdusalamov threw 84.
Mike Tyson gave a lot of people the wrong idea about what a heavyweight knockout artist, pressure fighter looks like, because there was such an immediacy to Tyson fights. Ding, ding, round 1, he ran at the guy and attacked him. historically, heavyweight pressure fighters especially start slow. I mentioned Joe Frazier earlier. Rocky Marciano is like that and starts smoking as the fight goes on. And Abdusalamov has smoked more and more each round.
George Foreman in his first career started very fast. In his second career, he started slowly and built the tempo throughout the fight.
Well, he was a little bit older in the second part of his career, but that's what made Mike Tyson so fascinating. He was such a quick guy to be that small power puncher, and that's what people wanted to see because he was a deadly weapon from round 1 on.
Abdusalamov is making more and more contact, and by our eyes, it appears the contact is meaning more and more as we go along. Big right hand by Abdusalamov, body shot by Perez.
I don't know if Perez wants to trade hooks with Abdusalamov like that in the middle of the ring.
I don't think he wants to trade lefts with Abdusalamov, especially looking at Abdusalamov's daddy's hands yesterday. His daddy has a set of bear claws on the end of his wrist.
I've never seen bigger hands.
I've never seen a pair of hands like that in my life. Great body shot
by Perez. Tremendous body shot right on the belt line. Momentarily stops Magomed's momentum.
That'll take some of the sting off a guy's shots.
I don't know.
Big left hand by Abdusalamov. And a body shot of his own.
It reminded him to go to the body now.
It's a sign of a fighter, too. You got me, I want to get you back, only worse.
That's exactly right. And he's throwing 2 or 3 punch combinations, which is beautiful for a heavyweight.
They're putting on a show in the small room at Madison Square Garden. We're about to finish round 4, and Abdusalamov has never been beyond part of the 5th. Next Saturday night, Rocky Martinez takes on Mikey Garcia for a 130-pound title, and Nonito Donaire and Vic Darchinyan meet again 7 years after Donaire upset Darchinyan with a spectacular one-punch knockout. A week later, one of boxing's pound-for-pound best, Andre Ward, last seen knocking out 175-pound kingpin Chad Dawson, returns to the ring and the 168-pound division to defend his undisputed throne against unbeaten Edwin Rodriguez.
Give me some more water. Give me some more water.
Here you see Abdusalamov starting to land some beautiful punches like this right hook, perfectly timed right hook with Mike Perez against the ropes, right on the button, never buckled Mike Perez's knees. And you couldn't ask for a better left uppercut than this shot right here coming, right on the chin with a beautiful left uppercut by Abdusalamov. And like I said before, these guys are taking some really good punches. You hear me?
Perez showed a huge chin in that round in which, in power punches, Perez landed 9 of 33, and Abdusalamov landed 27 of 47. He landed his power shots at a 57% clip there in the 4th round. But again, Abdusalamov has never, as a professional, fought beyond part of the 5th round.
Samson Lefkowitz, the finder of international boxing superstars.
Manny Pacquiao, Sergio Martinez, Magomed Abdusalamov.
Compares Abdusalamov to Ike Ibeabuchi, the undefeated heavyweight contender who's imprisoned in his prime and never really got to fulfill his career's promise. But like Ibeabuchi, he's a big guy who throws with power and moves his hands in combination, which is rare for a big heavyweight.
And Abdusalamov has done that just the same. I don't know if his skill is all the way as good as Ibeabuchi's was, but he definitely throws in combinations, and he definitely has a lot of power.
Fights we never saw but really wanted to, in the vein of, say, Floyd Mayweather versus Manny Pacquiao, Ike Ibeabuchi versus Lennox Lewis.
That would have been the fight.
That was the holy grail for a while.
Mike Perez is gaining confidence here. You see him just lick his tongue at Abdusalamov.
Well, Abdusalamov appears to me, at least in this round, to be tiring.
Yeah, Abdusalamov is not tiring. I think he got caught with some big punches early.
Okay.
Like that. And I think they're making him keep his hands at home a little bit more. Perez has really tagged him with that right hook a couple times this round.
So it's a seesaw fight. Momentum going back and forth from one guy to another.
The story of this fight is uncertain. Is this the story of Abdusalamov's superior kind of willpower, overpowering, eventually wearing down Perez's superior skill? Or is it the trained amateur who's been more rounds and deeper into professional fights, outworking and outlasting the younger or less experienced opponent. It's unclear at this moment what the story is.
I tell you what, you got two really good heavyweights in front of us, two of the best that I've seen in some time now, and it's a wonderful fight that we're having, so I'm very appreciative of it.
CompuBox numbers on total punches landed. Looks like the statistics from a tennis match.
Oh,
Perez with 138, Abdusalamov 136. This has been Perez's round. After the last round was Abdusalamov's round.
Remember this, everybody? Ibushi and Tua were on a higher level, Holyfield and Bo. Remember what a good heavyweight action fight looks like?
You know what, though? This fight here is much more higher skill level than any of those fights were.
And still to come tonight, the most rapidly burgeoning star profile in boxing, Gennady G. Golovkin, Triple G. 14 consecutive knockouts coming in. The scourge of the middleweight division says he'll fight anybody from 154 to 169. Tonight, or 68. Tonight, it's Curtis Stevens of Brooklyn. And there's Sergey Kovalev, who once was a member of that same Big Bear camp with Golovkin and the others under Abel Sanchez, now trains with John David Jackson, Abdusalamov's trainer, down in Hallandale, Florida. And there is Abdusalamov's dad, Big Mago, who has, according to Roy Jones and Max Kellerman, the biggest hands they've ever seen.
Bear claws.
Catcher's mitts.
CompuBox numbers average per round through 5 rounds. Perez's average, 29 out of 85. Abdusalamov's average, 28 out of 71. And now, Abdusalamov enters the 6th round for the first time in his professional career.
The left side of his face is starting to really swell. The whole left side of Abdusalamov's face from those Perez right hooks.
What's interesting about Perez is you're not really used to seeing a guy with such a short arm disposition be such a good boxer. He has a great jab, a great right hook, a good left hand, and it's just something unusual.
And he has the calves of David Tua. I mentioned Tua before, these huge calves.
If you knew David Tua, you knew David Tua had one of the best left hooks in the business.
Sure did.
But he didn't care much about overhand right. This kid has the total package.
From the way Abdusalamov's face is swelling, I wonder if it was the orbital bone that was broken instead of the nose.
Well, you saw a reaction. You knew something hurt him when he got caught with that right hook in the first round because he snatched his left hand back to his face and he backed off for a second.
And he's holding his face like there's something wrong with his jaw. He's not closing his mouth.
That's why Jim said that.
Could be the orbital bone, could be the cheekbone, could be the jaw. Could be anything, but it's on the right side of Abdusalamov's face, and it is beginning to distort him in a way that suggests there's got to be big pain there.
Yes, it has to be big pain, and he's not showing any at all. And I tell you what, he just landed another beautiful left uppercut on Mike Perez, and Mike Perez doesn't even pay it attention.
And here's the issue for Abdusalamov now, the story of this fight becoming more clear. He's taking a beating from a superior boxer who's shown the ability to take his best shot. Can Abdusalamov come up with an even better shot? Can he come up with something to hurt Perez and turn this fight around?
And increasingly, it looks like they might go the distance after my whole opening on camera was about you should go to the bookie and bet that both fights
Jim, there's a long way to go in this fight.
A very long way to go. But I tell you what, Abdusalamov has some heart. With his face distorted like it is, he's steadily putting the pressure on, trying to land a big shot, and that says a lot for him.
I think I might have said right cheek at one point. Let's be clear, it's the left side of his face that is swelling up like that. And again, the key punch that's causing it is Mike Perez's quick right hook.
And don't get me wrong, Mike Perez has the black eye on his right eye from that left uppercut from Abdusalamov.
But the tenor of this fight has changed in this round because I think Perez feels so in control. He can back off and start to fight the kind of fight he wants instead of taking the same risks he took early. And that's why I think, Jim, it has the sense of a fight that could go the distance now.
Exactly, because Perez is in control.
You okay? What are you saying? Listen to me. When you let your hands go, you're doing good. You can't wait on them so long. What boxing? Move on, touch him. Don't look for the knockout, Mongo. You need to give him them short shots. That's what I need from you, okay? Move your head. You gotta move your head more. Don't just walk in. Whether you're moving away or you're coming to him, box your way in. I need the jab.
Is the side of my face swollen? Is it really look swollen?
I need the jab.
He's his right hook that's been causing problems all night, landed by Mike Perez, right on that orbital bone, or whatever it is that Jim says swole over there, but he hit him right on that spot, and it's not looking good for Abdusalamov right now.
Now, as Abdusalamov went back to the corner, I'm sure that you saw him trying to close his mouth, and seemingly unsuccessfully so. And you heard the Russian interpreter explicating that Abdusalamov was asking the people in his corner, is my face swelling up? It feels as though it's badly swollen. So he's preoccupied with that as he goes to work here in round 7. Harold, how do you have it so far?
Okay, Jim, I've got it 4 rounds to 2. 58, 56, Mike Perez. You know, Jim, in rounds 5 and 6, it just appeared that Mago was out of gas more than Mike Perez was. I mean, I thought Mike Perez won rounds 5 and 6, you know, to take the lead by 2 rounds because of the fact that he outworked Mago. Mago just looked tired, but hopefully you'll change it around and, you know, come up with something. 4 rounds to 2, Mike Perez.
It's not that Abdusalamov can't end a fight with one shot or that he hasn't won some rounds and maybe could still win the fight, but if you're in his corner, you got to start thinking about this. He is taking a brutal beating the last couple rounds and asking questions like, is my face swollen? He asked earlier, is my nose broken?
And now he got a bad cut over his left eye that's bleeding right down in his eye. So you're right, Max. It might be time to start considering something a little different here.
Even though it's possible he could still win the fight, but he is taking a beating.
A bad beating.
He's never been cut before. Now he's cut for the first time. That's yet another consideration to go with his obvious preoccupation with the swelling on the left side of his face.
And look at this shorter armed fighter out jabbing this longer armed fighter.
Bleeding from the left eye.
I'm very impressed with the talent of Mike Perez.
Well, that's an example of what I used to try to tell Max about the Cuban fighters as amateurs. It just exposes itself when they get to come over and turn professional. That is the top notch of amateur boxing right there in front of you.
It's not an accident that when the Cubans weren't in the '84 Olympics, we won 1 million gold medals.
Hey, they weren't in the '88 either, but I was looking for them, I can't lie. So many of those great guys I used to watch for years because I wanted to fight them. And one particular that comes to mind was Candelario Duvergil. Always wanted to fight Candelario Duvergil, never got a chance to.
There goes a big left hand.
Good left hand by Abdusalamov, his best punch of the round.
Oh, good.
And he lands a right hook.
And look at
Perez
this,
sticks
he
his
takes
tongue out at him, but those were good shots.
But you start to see why they don't want to throw in the towel in Abdusalamov's corner, because they know that could happen at any time.
But that's very discouraging to a puncher when you have a guy that looks at you and licks his tongue after you land a big punch on him, and you're known for it as a puncher.
Do you think that John David Jackson and company should at least do Abdusalamov the service of asking him between these rounds if he wants to continue, or is that a bad thought to put in his head?
Don't ask him because he's going to say no.
Or you give him a chance to say yes, that's even worse. They got to make the decision.
Deep breath, come on.
Big breath, big breath.
You get 3 rounds to go, Marvin.
We got
so
3 rounds to go.
You got to work by that. How you feel? How you feel?
How you feeling?
Okay, you feel good. You got your hands go for me. You okay? You want to catch him? You got your hands go. Get close, move your hand, let your hands go. Then we're gonna catch him. You can't look at the guy. When you get
Don't
close,
look at him. Don't look at him. Just try to catch him. Just throw the punches. Just try to do something.
Okay? When you get close, stay inside, let your hands go. Move your head for me. Okay? Okay. Don't just catch the punches, Bogger. When you work by the jab,
crucial time now. You gotta let your hands go. Come on.
Two ring doctors went to Abdusalamov's corner and watched carefully throughout the entire between round period. They have decided to allow him to come back out to fight in round number 8. Jabs in the 7th round. Perez 25 out of 57. Abdusalamov 8 out of 28. Heavyweight average for jabs 5 out of 19. They are still, to this point in the fight, throwing and landing many more punches than the heavyweight average, both of them in every round.
Two highly crafted, great amateur fighters, Jim. Good left hand by Abdusalamov.
I think Abdusalamov has done enough since we were talking, maybe stop the fight, to quiet that down a little bit, those thoughts maybe, if the corner's having those kind of thoughts.
We were marveling yesterday at how big his head is and how big his hands are. Tonight you can marvel at how big his heart is. He is fighting like a warrior.
And you can't take nothing away from Mike Perez either, because we didn't expect him to come in and be able to go toe-to-toe with this hard-punching animal, Abdusalamov.
Oh, Perez has shown a real good beard, heart, conditioning, skills.
Tremendous ability. They both put on a show here in what has been an amazing heavyweight fight so far in Madison Square Garden, with the main event still to come. And by the way, it appears that every seat is filled.
And this is why we used to dream of seeing fights like Teofimo Stevenson versus George Foreman, or Teofimo Stevenson versus Muhammad Ali, because Teofimo Stevenson was one of those great Cuban heavyweights.
Now we get to see it now, rigging down these guys turning pro and schooling the best fighters in the world.
Oh, the problem is we as Americans don't have a good heavyweight.
Well, the Irish do now. There's a good Irish heavyweight. His name is Mike Perez.
That's right.
Irish Mike Perez.
He lives in Cork, incidentally. And Cork is known as a seat of rebellion. Thus, the other nickname, Mike the Rebel Perez. And we asked if he thought he would ever go back to Cuba or anywhere else in Latin America. He said, no, I'm an Irishman now.
What an interesting thing to hear the Cuban accented Spanish kind of accent with an Irish brogue.
Amazing.
But he speaks about 4 different languages. He spoke English, he speaks Spanish, he spoke a couple languages in there that really surprised me.
He speaks boxing, that's for sure.
You better believe it. Abdusalamov is showing some heart, though. Look at that.
Look at that. 10 seconds. 3-punch combination from Abdusalamov. Late in the 8th round. Never been past 5. Certainly never has been cut, never has had the kind of injury that appears to be in his face, and is definitely dead tired. Next Saturday night, make sure you catch the premiere of our next 24/7 series, Pacquiao Rios, for an unfiltered look into the lives and training camps of these two fighters as they prepare for their November 23 pay-per-view showdown, live from Macau, China.
Deep breath. You're 2 rounds, baby. Margo,
uppercuts. Try to go close to him. Shoot the uppercuts.
I need your hook from me. You give me the 1-2 but no hook?
Uppercuts, hooks, just throw everything at him. Just come close and throw.
Tape it. I need more. I need him to hand your hands, though.
Come on, Margo, you can do it. The guy's getting tired. Come on.
Hook. Give me that hook. You're not giving me the hook.
He see Mike Perez land that beautiful left hook high on the head this time, but that's been his money punch all night. That's the punch, I think, that started all the controversy early in the fight.
Round 9 of a scheduled 10. And you can see that on Harold Letterman's scorecard, Mike Perez, the unofficial scorecard, Mike Perez is in control, and Abdusalamov at this point would need a knockout or several knockdowns to win the fight.
Wow.
And now, here's one thing that could be helpful to his cause, as a point is deducted from Perez for low blows.
But that's the first one. You get to take a point on the first one.
No, there was one in the first round, and there was a warning earlier as well.
But I think before you take that point, maybe the ref did it and I missed it. You have to tell him the next time I'm taking a point.
Something. Gosh, you don't just stop and take a point like that.
And it didn't look intentional to me. You know, Abdusalamov sees a kindred spirit in Provodnikov. There are levels of heart. He's shown a tremendous heart hanging in there and fighting back. But I've never seen Provodnikov convinced that he can't win a fight. And the question here is, can Abdusalamov not only fight back, but fight back in a way that shows that he still believes he can win?
Takes another big shot from Perez as Perez backs him into the corner. Halfway through the 9th round. Extremely painful enterprise for Abdusalamov, who certainly appears to have something broken in his face, whether it's the orbital bone, the cheekbone, or the jaw. Three-punch combination by Abdusalamov.
Not to suggest that anything is broken in his spirit, but he looks like when he fights now, last several rounds, he knows he's fighting an uphill battle. And maybe it's not so good for him.
He's been fighting an uphill battle since round 1 when he got that bone injured. I mean, he's got to breathe out of his mouth. He's taking inhalations, body shots like that left hand right there. I mean, it's almost impossible to do what he's doing.
The worst thing about being in with an experienced fighter like that is when they have you hurt, it's the body shots, both hands.
Right.
They target the injured part of your face.
Exactly.
They know exactly how to take advantage of the situation.
Right, but both of these guys are very experienced fighters.
So like I said in the first round, or excuse me, like I said in the opening on camera, despite Abdusalamov's glittering knockout record, there's a good chance the fight will go to Oh my gosh, what a left-hand shot.
I don't know, Jim.
Just kidding.
Don't back off now, Jim. These guys aren't backing off.
I don't know, Jim. If he get caught one more of those, we might see something strange. This is two good heavyweight fighters, you hear me?
Perez just flirted with another possible low-blow penalty as he landed one right below the belt line, but it was on the other side of Benji Perez, or Benji Esteves, I should say.
And Perez has to be careful walking behind Abdusalamov like that.
9 rounds in the books, 1 to go.
What do you want you to do now? Take it. He wants you to take it. All right, man. I gotta get Last round, let your hands go.
Get some tape on it. Get some tape.
You got it right now. Is it for this one or for that one? You got it now. I got it, guys. Tape, come on, tape it. That one? Tape. That one's good. Okay. Listen, last round, let your hands go. Be smart, move your head, but let your hands go.
You have nothing to lose, you have nothing to lose. Come on, Margo, last round, you have nothing to lose. Just go at it. Go at him.
Hands up. That's right, baby. Come on, ¿cómo estamos?
How you doing? Good? Water.
This is round 10, the final round of the round of applause.
Been an amazing fight. Harold Letterman, how do you have it coming to the 10th?
Okay, Jim, I've got it 6 rounds to 3, 86-84, Mike Perez. You know, that 10-8 round, the round 9 when Benji Esteves took away that point, made it a little bit closer, but still a little. I think Mike Perez is clearly winning the fight. No doubt in my mind. Abdusalamov was amazing, though. I mean, I thought he actually won the 9th round. You know, I called it 10-8, meaning that Abdusalamov won the round and also got a point for the low blow. Anyway, 6 rounds to 3, Mike Perez.
If that is a broken jaw or a broken orbital bone, as courage goes, this is going to go into the books with what Arthur Abraham did when he fought 8 or 9 rounds against Edison Miranda with a broken jaw and beat him in Germany a few years ago.
And Muhammad Ali with Ken Norton.
When Ken Norton fought nearly the entire fight in San Diego with a broken jaw.
And give Mike Perez credit. Every time Abdusalamov has tried with great heart to reimpose himself on the fight with hard shots, Perez takes the play right away from him. It's happened in this round again.
Once again, that's that great Cuban experience. Oh, good left hand by Perez.
Great body shot by Perez. It's been a real key to the lead that he's built on Harold Letterman's unofficial scorecard, at least. Dominating the body area. Abdusalamov has landed some big body shots, but Perez has kept going back there over and over and over.
A little bit more experience, Jim.
Not forgetting the last round, Abdusalamov was able to land a couple shots that seemed to shake Perez up.
Landed some really big shots that last round, but he's taken a lot this round.
Almost went down.
From a jab.
Never been down, almost went down there.
From a jab. That could be dangerous for Perez. He better be careful. be very dangerous for Perez because he thinks he has Abdusalamov, and he's still throwing some real punches at Perez.
He just opened up a cut over in Perez's right eye.
He's throwing some real punches at Perez still. Like that right there.
Now this is next level heart from Abdusalamov. Still throwing, I'm trying to win the fight punches when he was rocked like that in the 10th round of a brutal fight.
Oh, good hook. And good left hand by Abdusalamov.
Tremendous show of courage by Abdusalamov. Tremendous show of skill by Mike Perez.
Tremendous heavyweight fight, and it's been a while.
Rock'em sock'em action enlivens the heavyweight division in a fight that I never dreamed could go the distance. So there's a look at Harold's unofficial scorecard. Now in a moment, Harold, tell us who are the 3 official judges who will amazingly render a decision in the fight.
Absolutely. Now here's the judge that I know the best, Julie Letterman, the newest inductee into the New Jersey Boxing Hall of Fame. She'll get inducted November the 14th. She just worked Bernard Hopkins over Carol Murat in Atlantic City. She had that right. John Stewart, a real veteran judge. I love the guy. He's been judging since 1978. As you see, he had Rigondeaux over Donaire, but he had that a little bit too close. But he's an excellent judge. Don Trella from Suffield, Connecticut. Jim, I helped him get into boxing. As you see, he had Gradovich over Billy, did 114, 112 in a very close fight. Don is a terrific judge. He'll do a good job.
Well, if the winner of the fight is the one you would most like to be at this moment, now that it's over, it's abundantly clear you'd rather be Mike Perez.
Perez won the fight. Only a bad decision renders a situation where Perez beat him up. It was a terrific fight.
Terrific HBO debut for Mike Perez as well as for Magomed Abdusalamov. Only real idiosyncrasy in the fight was the 1-point low blow penalty issued against Perez in the 9th round. To our eyes, it should not ultimately figure in the decision. But while we've got a moment, let's take a quick look at what happened in the 9th round. And this was one of several punches that Perez landed on the course of the evening that could have been considered low. That was actually just a tiny bit below the belt line, if at all.
Was pulling his head down when he threw it.
Exactly right. As is often the case. Actually thought the first round low blow that Esteves didn't even see was more egregious than that one. And Michael Buffer has the numbers, so let's find out who won the fight.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 10 heavyweight rounds, we go to the scorecards. 97-92 from Julie Letterman. John Stewart has it 95-94. Don Trella, 97-92. All to the winner by unanimous decision. Still undefeated, and the new champion, Mike the Rebel Perez.
Round of applause for Magomed Abdusalamov.
All right, so a unanimous decision win for Mike Perez, as we anticipated would be the case. And here are the final CompuBox numbers. You see that Perez landed 64 more punches, threw 150 more punches, and landed at a higher connect percentage. So he's the winner, goes to 20-0. And Abdusalamov has the first loss of his career after 18 consecutive wins. Jabs, it wasn't exactly a jabbing contest, but it was part of the way that Perez controlled the fight, significantly outlanding and outthrowing Abdusalamov in jabs. Two southpaw heavyweights going against each other at the same time. Power punches, Abdusalamov actually landed 14 more, but Perez was using the jab in the closing rounds to maintain control, keep a little bit of distance, and keep Abdusalamov working in ways in which he might not have wanted to do. 25 more power punches thrown by Abdusalamov, and look how they both landed close to 50% of their power shots, which is part of why we called it a brutal fight. An aerial look at Madison Square Garden on a picture-perfect evening here in New York City. Still to come in our main event. Middleweight title holding Gennady Golovkin. Already 3-0 with 3 knockouts on his 2013 resume. Looks to run his overall record to 28-0 and extend the knockout streak to 15 as he goes up against Brooklyn native Curtis Stevens. Stevens has scored opening round knockouts in 3 of his last 4 fights. Seeks a career-defining win against the heavily favored Golovkin here tonight. But before we get to Golovkin-Stevens, let's take a look at what HBO Boxing